Call the regular city council meeting of the city of Sandy Oaks to order for the 8th day of October 2015. Joel is absent. David Tremblay.
Present.
Vicky Ball.
Present.
Doug Tomasini.
Here.
Myself, Ernest Gay, we're here. We do have a quorum today. Okay. We all stand for an invocation and the pledge. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. Please be with this group and with this city. Direct us in the way that we should go. Make our decisions prudent and to the best interest of all of those here. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Hopefully we will be through this agenda, not too long, shouldn't be too lengthy. On our citizens to be heard here, Jim Clement, you signed up as if needed. You want to wait for yours until that agenda item comes up? Okay. And is this John Crickmer?
Yes, right here.
Okay, you would like to speak, sir?
No, I just came to get some contact information and see what's going on.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. For the information of those y'all, when the thing on the solid waste or the garbage pickup comes up, we'll open it up and let y'all talk then. Okay. Under item number 4 under the consent agenda, I'd like to pull the item minutes for September the 8th, as they're not ready yet, but would like to continue with the, and that was for a special meeting. Our city clerk has a question to ask the attorney about those. Anyway, the September regular meeting minutes. I didn't make copies up. I'm sorry. She does it all the time, and I. Yeah, each one. Okay. Discuss and consider approval of the minutes for the meeting of September the 10th, 2015, a regular meeting. And discuss and consider invoice number 1084 of the Casana and Ortiz PC law firm. I have a motion to accept those.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
Well, we're talking about the attorney's.
Well, I was going to
But do
do.
you want
I
to
was
pull
going
that
to do
one
the
and
first
discuss
one.
it individually?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question on her bill.
All he has to do is just request that. It doesn't need a second or anything?
No, you can just do it.
Okay. Well, we'll
Okay,
pull
well-
that one. All right, then how about the, just under the consent agenda, we will do the, agree on the September 10th, 2015 regular meeting. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the September 10th meeting.
There's a motion by Ball. Do we have a second? Okay, second by Tomasini. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, all 4 of us unanimous. Okay, as I was saying, the minutes for the September 8th meeting are not completed yet by the city clerk, so they will be placed on the next meeting. Discuss and consider invoice number 1084 of Casana and Ortiz PC. Mr. Tremblay.
We have a question. There's an item on there for a telephone conference on 8/25 with the WPPOA president regarding documents and liabilities. There's a charge there for $75, and I just brought it to Cassandra's attention. It's listed twice.
That
Oh, I
was just
see.
There's actually, yeah, there's 2 items. It's on there twice.
Yeah, I
I wonder
see
if
it.
it's reflected in the total.
So that's a clerical mistake that we can remove. So we'll remove one of the items. So the bill will be $75 less. And so if the council wants to accept it with those changes, we can do that, or we can wait till the next meeting where there's a final bill, however the
I
council
don't
wants to
see any.
proceed.
That's fine.
All we have to do is just strike one of these, in other words, correct?
Yes.
She said the second one.
And I can send a revised bill tomorrow, removing it, just showing that.
Is that even necessary if we just correct the one that's here?
No, I guess it's not. If you just want to correct this one, it would just,
So we would just correct this to show $75 less on the end, so it would be $3,600 instead of $3,675.
yes.
Right.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions or changes? We're going to omit.
You've been very busy.
Elections.
I know.
And if anybody out there is wondering why it was so much, this is the one that covers the election, setting up all of the election stuff, and then, of course, canceling all of the election, so that we didn't have to run an election with one person on each ballot. Believe me, we saved a lot of money by her canceling this. Okay, do we have a motion to accept the minutes as, the statement as amended? The invoice, invoice number 1084, I believe it is.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we accept the invoice
Half of my agenda
as corrected
in
to
there.
reflect the bill for $3,600 by $3,675.
And I'll second.
Okay, that was by Tremblay and Ball. We have a motion and a second on, we have any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. All right. Financial report, income and expenses were reported by our city clerk, Rob.
Beginning balance of $47,809.47, less expenses of $3,122.10, plus a deposit on September 14th for $1,847.31 from the Texas State Comptroller for sales tax. Ending balance is $46,534.68.
Anybody have any questions on the financial report? We have a motion to accept the financial report. I'll make a motion that we accept it. Do we have a second? Second by Tomasini. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, item number 6, discuss and consider the resolution instructing the city clerk to open a second account in accordance with the newly adopted budget and authorize the city clerk and mayor of the city to act as signatories on behalf of the city. What I had in mind on this one was that our budget is set up to have a general account, and it is also set up that it should have a reserve account. Monies coming in should be divided as per the budget and placed into these accounts. That was what my thinking was on that, and that we should have the second account started since we are in the new fiscal year. Obviously, the only one signing on the account right now is Ms. Robb, and that would change come November, the first week of November, when you get seated as mayor.
So there'd be the two of us.
It would be the two of you that would
Okay.
sign on it, correct? Is everybody in favor of having a,
Why did you want to, why is it just keep them separate?
yes, because you have your reserve account. You don't want your reserve account money staying in your general account because it's too easy to use it then. And let's face it, we did set the budget up to where we have X number of dollars going in. It's roughly 32% of the budget goes into the reserve account. And they should be kept separate. And that reserve account is used for something unexpected coming up. It should not generally be used for just your general everyday items.
So up to this point, we've been just working out a reserve account?
A reserve account, correct.
Okay.
When we set the first one up, we set it up to where all monies would go into a reserve account, and we would operate out of that. Now that the new fiscal year is here and we have a budget, we should be operating out of a general budget.
So how do we, I don't know if that's part of this discussion or not, as far as determining how deposits are handled.
Well, the budget
Not here.
was,
Sorry.
I believe our budget was $414,000. I forget exactly what it was.
Got it in here somewhere.
And there was like 133,000 went into reserve fund. It broke down to 42 and 68%. I mean,
We just put money in the general account until it reached the budget amount, and then the rest goes in.
well,
That's what I'm
gonna be
wondering.
up to the council, how you do that. But I do believe that you need to have your reserve account set up.
I think this is the one.
And if y'all don't
That's-
agree, well, you don't have to.
I really don't see what is a problem with it. Is there there's a fee associated with the account?
There is a $20 a month fee, just
$20
like
a
the one
month.
you've got now. Is that correct? Yeah, so you will have a fee associated with that account. That is correct. And that is in the budget.
Okay.
The budget was set up with two accounts in mind on it. So, Cassandra, that would be a resolution that would be drawn up and they would just sign it at the next council meeting?
Yes. we can do
Okay.
that. If it's
And they
approved.
wouldn't need to go get the account until that time? Okay.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we instruct the city clerk to open a second account to accommodate a general account.
I'll second that motion. Do we have any further discussion?
Did you just say that we could pass the resolution first?
Well,
Before we
I
open
thought
the
I was-
account?
I thought I was going to draft, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to draft a resolution, so she wouldn't,
The next meeting.
So the motion should be to instruct the attorney to prepare a resolution.
yeah, you need to amend your motion to
Okay, I will amend my motion then.
to instruct the attorney to draw up a resolution.
Is that correct? I amend my motion or?
Yes, you can
Okay.
amend your motion. Yes.
Then I'll amend my motion to instruct the city clerk, no, let's strike that and start over. I make a motion that we instruct the attorney to draft a resolution in support of opening a second account for the city.
Okay, and I
Okay.
will second your motion.
Change that. Good
We have a
catch.
motion and a second on the floor. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, you've got all four, it's unanimous. Okay, item number 7 on the agenda, receive and consider citizen input on the solid waste recycling proposals for from the September 26, 2015 community meeting. In case any of y'all were not there, we had 3 proposals that were given. One of them was given by Apache.
No, they did not, they weren't there.
They weren't here. I just read their proposal. They sent in a proposal, but they did not show up and tell us about what they had to offer. For those of y'all that are here today, their offer was monthly rates, one time a week, $30 a month, or $30 per month. An additional 95-gallon cart would cost you another $15. Recycling would be by a separate truck in a separate container. Recycling would be picked up once a week for $10 a month extra. No curbside bulk waste offered. A central drop-off could be arranged and billed for by the load. No curbside brush would be offered, and a central drop-off could be arranged by the load. For those of you that have dumpsters, their dumpster started at the small dumpster, the 2-yard dumpster at $86.50 per month. And that was from Apache. Like I say, they did not show up to give their proposal. The proposal from Republic, fully automated residential collection, included the 95-gallon cart, $15.40 per month. An extra cart would cost you $8 per month. Residential bulk pickup twice per year would be $3.90 a month for each. Out of cycle, they would pick up out of cycle for you for $35 per cubic yard. They did not charge to deliver the cart, of course, and they did not have an exact amount for the recycling.
He did, he said it was $8.
$8, okay. $8 per month for recycling. And that would be in a separate container also, but it was a small container that you had to carry out there. And then your ones that wanted dumpsters. If you wanted a residential dumpster, a 2-yard dumpster started at $44.43 a month and went up from there to the largest they would have is a 4-yard for $88 a month. The last one that we had was from Tiger Sanitation. Their base proposal was $16.50 per month. Once a week pickup. It would be to include once a week curbside recycling. They had an alternate one at only $15.25 a month. It would be once a week pickup for your garbage container, and every other week they would pick up your recyclables instead of every week on the recyclables. Then they went into other alternates. They had alternate number 2 down there was a twice a week pickup, $21.25. And the alternate on that one was $19.75 with I keep forgetting my word there, the recycling every other week. Their dumpsters, 2-yard dumpster starts at $56.58 a month and goes all the way up. They have something all the way up to a 10-yard dumpster. Can't imagine anybody using that, but that would be $155 a month. That would be most probably for your. And if you wanted a additional 95-gallon cart, if you needed more than one, your additional cart would cost you an additional $12 per week. No, it's not right there.
Not a week.
I'm sorry, a month. $12 a month. I'm sorry,
For one
everything's on a
time
month. Yeah, good catch. They do offer roll-off dumpsters if you're doing some remodeling and that kind of stuff. And they also offered a quarterly brush and bulk item pickup. Your bulk items would be like your furniture and those type of items, old appliances and what have you. Your brush pickup, their brush pickup was, it had to be cut and bundled in certain size bundles because they don't use an automated machine, they use manpower to pick those up. And that's basically the 3 proposals that are on the table. We have anybody out there that would like to speak or say something about it? Ms. Randall?
Yes, just in general, I don't want to talk about the different proposals. As background, I'm happy with the company I'm with. But as I stated at the public hearing, there are 4 other companies that are disposing of people's trash. And I'm going to make the assumption that people are happy with those companies as well. I think it is incredibly unfair to make this kind of a decision for a community of upwards of 4,000 people without it going to a vote. It needs to go to a vote of the populace. You can see here, we have a very low turnout. We didn't have a much higher turnout for the public hearings. The bulk of the residents out here don't even know this is happening.
You are correct. They don't know that a lot of them don't know because they don't get themselves involved. One of the things that I'm torn about is a fiduciary responsibility to this community. The amount of money that would be saved by the average resident out here by going to a single collector would more than pay for half of your taxes every year. That's how great the savings are by going with one of these companies, or could be.
But does that supersede people's choice in the matter?
In many instances, yes. And basically because most communities you get into...
Okay, that's a real bad precedent to set.
I understand what you're talking about, but understand that right now we have these trucks coming through, driving every single street every time they pick up. You're looking now at dropping that down to 1 or 2 trucks a week. Instead of having all of these companies, plus the dumpster trucks that are even heavier than the regular garbage trucks.
I get that.
Yeah.
I still don't think it rises to the level of, right now, 4 people making decisions for 4,000 people
Well, you gotta remember-
without adequate information being sent out. You've got to at least let people know what you're doing to them.
Oh, well, we're not doing anything to them, we're doing things for them.
They may not look at it that way. If they don't have a choice, you're doing it to them. This is an ethical issue.
Well, like I say, to me, it's a no-brainer, because it's just so much less money that you're going to spend. It's basically half price of what most people are paying out here right now.
Well, that would be very simple then. Explain to people why this decision would be better for them and let them vote on it.
But as far as us,
If it's a no-brainer, they'll vote yes.
yes, but if you bring this to a vote, do you really think it is prudent for us as a council to run an $8,000 or $10,000 voting for this item?
Okay, if you can't do that, why don't you send out postcards and let people return them to let you know what they think?
Well, I
You
don't
know,
know.
it
that
is a democracy, or it's
It is.
supposed to be.
Yes, and that's why the people of the community elected the people that are sitting up here to make those decisions, because most of them don't come out and make the decisions.
I understand the apathy too.
Yeah.
But taking advantage of the apathy is also very dangerous.
Like I said, I don't see it as taking advantage of anyone. It's, I see it as helping
But there will
people,
be other people that do see it that way.
okay, all right. Mr. Clement?
I dumped one trash company for another one, and I got the same thing from the new one. And right now, I'm looking at a proposal, one of two that are in there. It's going to save me some money right now, and I can't for the love of me say, just go ahead and do it. But I want you to go ahead and do it because the publicity that had been put on this thing, I know it's on the website, I know it's on my neighborhood or whatever they call that thing, and we're hearing we got tons of what ifs. But I think you four people have a no-brainer. I want one of them two companies. I don't care which one, preferably the best one, but the one that's going to meet my budget. And because I answered a question online last week because I was hearing what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, and not a damn person that's saying what if is in this room. Okay?
Okay.
So they don't really give a damn. Excuse me. They don't care. I do. These people do. Everybody does. And even Mary, she's got her right to have her complaint. Hers and mine don't match, but we elected you guys to do the right thing for us.
All right,
And
thank
I
you.
think the right thing is to
Thank you.
save us money.
Back in the back corner here?
Yes, I was just wondering, from what I understand, we have to take it whether we need it or not, because I wouldn't need it.
No, I don't believe that it's, every resident is not going to be forced to buy the service if they don't want it, correct?
If they don't need it, you're not forced to buy the service, but there will have to be some sort of ordinance in place that will establish trash collection regulations that you will have to follow. So I don't know if you just don't use trash collection or what the issue is.
Yeah, I just take it into town. I don't generate that much trash once a
Yeah.
week.
Oh,
And there's several people that do that, yeah.
Yeah,
And
then,
I dump it in my business card.
yeah,
Yeah.
as long as you're following whatever trash
No,
regulations are in place and disposal, then you don't need to use the service. It's just,
Still burn the brush, we don't have to pick up, we don't have to.
Not until after.
Well, as long as you follow the regulations and don't burn with burn bans.
I said brush,
Yeah.
brush.
Yeah.
You have to call for a permit for it, right?
Yep.
And
Yes,
they
ma'am.
let me know that I
Okay.
am not.
Well, I have two questions. The first one is, when you go to implement this in the city, right, how is each and every person in each and every single house from each and every street going to know tonight's my night to put out trash, and as of this date, it's going to start, and I'm not using Apache anymore. I'm not using this. I'm now using Tiger. Like, how will everybody know that?
The company themselves are going to put out the flyers to each and every household and let them know exactly when it starts. They will deliver the cans when it comes up, when the time comes.
Okay.
And-
And the second question was, you said Tiger is $16.50 a month for 195 container. That also includes 230 containers, 30 ones that we could use. Because we can have a total of 3 right now. The 95-gallon one and 2 30-gallon containers for a total of 3.
They're fully automated. They won't pick up cans. That's the reason for them using those 95
So,
gallons. So
for
you'll get the
example-
195.
So it's $16.50 a month for 195 container according to their new contract. So my elderly neighbor, for example, puts 3 containers out every week now. He can only put 195 container and that's it. And then he has to purchase another $19, $50. What's the container cost? An additional container?
I believe they're $12 for their second one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it'll be $16.50 a month for 2 95-pound containers.
Well, it
95
would be an
gallon.
additional
95
60,
gallon.
95 gallon.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of
2 of those
trash.
great big ones. And
That's a
it was
lot of
never
trash.
brought up if they have any of the smaller ones available for people that need less. I didn't even think to have that put in the,
95 is, because it's automated.
yeah, it's automated, but,
95.
Tiger lets you put the extra cans out there.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
have 2 30-gallon cans. It don't matter what cans
No,
they
no, no.
are.
I understand what you're saying. That's under your current agreement, but in the
Yes.
new contract, I don't know.
we
I
don't
don't
know if they're
remember
going to
what
go
that.
fully automated when they do it, or if they're going to come through like they are now with men on the back of the truck and empty them.
Now, it was
Say they weren't gonna
$16.50
pick
for
up
2
cans.
95-gallon containers. That just exceeded what we're currently paying. Per month.
You're with which one of the companies? Tiger. You're with Tiger.
Well, there
okay.
you go.
Introduce yourself and tell them what the deal is there.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joseph Coelho. I'm the Municipal Accounts Manager with Tiger Sanitation, and I was here in September for the meeting. The continuation of 2 30-gallon containers can in fact be used. That's not going to change.
Okay.
And the automation, we will still have a driver or a helper in the back of the truck.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So, out of the 3 there, as a business owner that I've been, a homeowner, Tiger's the best deal. So, but this is the deal. He's the account guy. If y'all set it up in the community, you go back to Tiger, they'll negotiate it. We have 5,000 homes. We have 10,000 properties. Believe me, Tiger picks up my trash all the time. And I have properties on the other side of 37 and over on this side. Tiger, they never miss it. Never. I don't care what I put out there. I put it out there neatly organized. They pick it up and I pay pennies a month. It's pennies. And they never, never, never leave my trash behind. Now, keep in mind with Tiger, you need to pay your bills. Because they are just
So they will leave it behind.
They are just like anybody else.
Imagine that.
Well, I had one a couple of yards down. I was like, hey, your trash. Well, I didn't pay the bill. You need to call Tiger up. Get on the phone. So get on your cell phone and let's call them. They call. But Tiger, as a business owner, I can tell you, Kathy, bye-bye. Republic, I can promise you your trash will be dropped on your street all over the place. That's the #1 thing that businesses suffer with is Republic. I can tell you that right now. Because of trash, they don't care. It will be dropped. And Tiger is man-made. So you're actually going to have 2 people, like he said, faithfully, every Thursday morning, there's 2 guys on the truck. Always. Always.
Well, during experience, I've watched the trash getting picked up around my neighborhood. And you're right, Tiger will pick up the trash. I've even seen them pick up ones that the dogs knocked over, and they pick it up. Another one that does it is Tower Lake, but they didn't put in a proposal. Those guys are absolutely wonderful. They pick stuff up and take it off and go. But yes, sir.
Actually, did a little research on the internet and sent you guys an email about it. I hope
Yes, sir. I got it. Yes, sir. And it is Republic Services. That's what they put their name as.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Republic Service is involved right now in at least one ecological suit, and they have been involved in several others, just for what it's worth.
Okay. Keep in mind that no matter who you are using or who we use in the future, you're going to deal with the Republic because they own the landfill.
Right.
At some point in time, the company you deal with or you are going to deal with Republic because they own that landfill out there.
I have a question, Ernest.
Yes.
So we're not looking to make every citizen in the community actually subscribe to the service. Is that your understanding, sir, for the contract?
Right.
Okay. But anyone who wants to will only have one option. How will a citizen know that? Let's say we pick Republic and they call Tiger. What do you tell them?
If you're under contract with Republic,
Yeah, let's assume we're under contract with Republic and somebody wants to use your service and they call you. What is your response to them?
you're a contracted area.
Okay.
And they have to contact Republic.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is very usual and customary, particularly in cities, such as Elmendorf. They use one carrier. Chavano Park, one carrier. So this is not unusual. Okay, thank you.
Well, San Antonio has one carrier also.
True.
Yep.
So if you negotiate it, though, I'm telling you, go to Tiger and go talk with them. If the price is right. They want your business, you're offering them
I've had one
$4,000.
neighbor that got into some financial trouble and thought that they couldn't pay it. I told them, I said, you call Tiger and you work with them. If you let them know, like any other business, they will work with you. Any of these big major companies, if you've got a problem paying your bill, don't just be quiet and ignore it. You've got to let them know.
And they will put out the smaller garbage cans.
Yeah,
We only
and that's
have
what he
one-
says.
One of the properties and then two small ones. It's.
I didn't
don't
know
make
you
this
had
big
the
thing
smaller
when
ones
it's
available.
not.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that transpire, like if you do have a different carrier, when this all comes into effect, how will that carrier know to
Okay,
not come
one
on
of the things that I would like for our attorney to do is when she drafts the ordinance, that we need to make something in that ordinance to prohibit any current company from charging you a penalty for pulling out because we go with a single carrier.
The only issue is I don't know how y'all's individual contracts are, how they specify any type of early termination, so that would be something we'd have to address. So it may have to be something where your contract would expire and then we'd have a new company take over.
I don't
It's just
know
something
that-
I'd have to-
I don't know that there is
residents have
There is.
contracts.
Well,
Okay.
I know all of the dumpsters do have contracts attached to them.
Well, he has a input.
For residential accounts, they're really, you're billed quarterly.
Right.
So I would say, recommendation, just run out your quarter. So you provide the service provider at the point a 30-day, 60-day notification that at this point in time, I no longer want your services, and run out your account, because you're gonna wait 60 to 90, maybe 120 days to get a refund. And there are companies that don't offer refunds at all. So I would say,
Best run out the contract.
in the communication to the residents, make it simple. Look, if you have 2 months left, just make them aware that you are going to be canceling, or the city has created a contract with Tiger Sanitation, and it is effective as of this date, so your services would not be required.
And then in that case, we can do like an effective date to start, the next
Right.
quarter, if that is the case, and then Tiger's contract would take over. I guess y'all would finish out.
Well, like right now, I think your quarter starts in January. You run every 3 months starting in
That's
January?
correct.
Yeah.
But there are going to be residents who have their services may have started in November, or their services may have started in December. If in fact that's the case with the new rate, we would then be issuing a refund back to the residents because of the change in rate.
Oh, okay, I see.
Is there any way you can grandfather in the garbage cans?
Well, no, that's
If
just
it's
our norm.
95, like why should they have to repurchase?
They're not,
If they already have one,
they're not repurchasing.
They're
nobody
being,
used the existing.
Absolutely. As long as it's in the condition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe that the contract in both of these major companies, or all three of them actually said they would provide the containers free of charge.
Sure.
Yeah.
With a one-time delivery.
One-time delivery is free. I believe your company with Tiger also stated that the recycling was a wheeled can.
It is a 95-gallon can also.
So that, it's not something, it's not one of these small little rectangulars that got to be carried to the curb.
We're moving away from the bins just because of inconvenience, and so many people have increased their effectiveness on recycling
Right.
that the 95-gallon
Use the same trucks too.
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, I
Yes.
have a question back here. She wanted to know. Do you have the big dumps?
The big dumpsters, yes, they are available, yes. And with Tiger, they started, I believe, at $56 a month, $56.58 plus tax. With Republic, they were a few dollars cheaper on the cans, on the big ones. Their two-yard dumpster was $44.43. But that was basically the only thing that Republic was cheaper on was the dumpster. I put the deal, I have a dumpster myself. I use one. I pay $76 a month for my dumpster right now. To drop it to this will pay my taxes every year. I will save that much just on my dumpster fee alone. With either company.
We're paying 77.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the norm for a two-yard dumpster, yeah. And it did drop it that much. Like I say, I will save my tax money just on my garbage fee alone if we go to this.
I wish I could say that. I wish I could say that.
You have a question over here?
If we decide to go with Tiger, we'll just have Tiger as our pickup, and then we'll decide which level of service we want.
No, it would be the same contract for everybody.
No, I think what he's asking, there were options in the contract provided, so each individual home will get to choose which level of service they want, yes?
No.
No.
No, there are 3 options to select from for the contract.
You can't have once a week pickup and then your next door neighbor have twice a week pickup.
Ah.
But the recycling is, that's an additional, right?
No, not with Tiger, it was not. It's included.
Free.
So
The other guy wanted
the effective monthly rate would be what?
If you do the weekly pickup and bi-weekly recycling, it would be $15.25 a month.
For both?
$16.50.
For both.
And there were 2 other levels in there, right?
Yeah, that's the absolute least expensive level that Tiger has.
We're gonna have 2 trash cans?
You would have 2, well, you'd have 1 trash can and 1 recycling bin. They don't like you to put trash in the recycling bin.
But they're 95-gallon cars.
They're both the same size. Very similar to what the city of San Antonio has right now.
Okay, if recycling is not mandatory, right? You can still mix in your cans and whatever with your trash if you don't want to recycle?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Please don't do that. Be nice to our
On purpose.
Yes, sir.
It's there.
So with the 5-year, it's a 5-year contract?
With a 3-year option to renew? Yes.
All right, so, and that is, the rate is guaranteed?
Yes, when they had the meeting, they basically said that is going to be the rate unless some kind of catastrophic event happens. You know, if diesel fuel tomorrow jumps from $2.50 a gallon up to $6 a gallon, you're going to see an increase. But you're going to see that increase whether you're paying the $15 rate or whether you're paying the, what is it, $78 every 3 months? Roughly $25 a month right now.
And that's it,
so anything that would reflect our rate,
is catastrophic.
yeah, anything that would reflect or cause our rate to go up would cause your rate to go up under the current plans that you have now anyway. It's just that, you know, do you want it to go up on the higher amount or the lesser amount?
May I ask you a question, sir? And I'm sorry, what's your name?
Joseph?
Joseph. In your experience, what is the level of participation amongst the customers that you service now as far as participating in recycling?
Again, it's become a growing trend. Dealing with HOAs and municipalities, if I get 20 phone calls a week, 17 of them are about adding recycling.
Okay.
It's a growing trend just due to the fact that the awareness has grown. And if a company offers it at no additional charge, they're participating.
So by recycling, those are not going to the landfill, they're going to some
They're going to
offsite.
a recycling center.
Okay.
There are 5 in San Antonio.
Okay.
You talk about the ones like similar there at I-10 and 410?
Yes, that is one of the locations. There's another one on Provan.
Thank you.
So they're all over the place.
And can you just kind of touch on what items would be included in recycling?
Yes, and we will provide a flyer of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Your typical cans and your plastic containers, essentially that's not a problem. Contamination is a big factor with recycling, and so everything should in fact be rinsed out if it's going into the recycling. Your beer bottles, your cans, and so on, your soda pop, all of that is an item that would go in. Plastic bags, if you're going to HEB and you're coming home with 20 bags, it's recommended that you put all of the bags in one and tie it, because when they're loose, they do create havoc environmentally and at the recycling centers themselves.
Is there a requirement that residents sort their recyclables, or it can all go into the bin?
Throw it in the bin.
Perfect.
Throw it in the bin.
Okay.
Joseph, if you don't mind asking you, with this deal, this contract that your company proposed, would it have been possible with a property owners association?
Yes, we run basically the same contract with you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Do we have any other comments? Well,
Then I think we're done with that.
council, it's up to y'all. What do you want to do here? Okay, that was-
We're moving on to number 8.
That's done with the citizen. Hold on. We go to number 8. Discuss and consider an ordinance providing a single solid waste recycling carrier for the city of Sandy Oaks, and authorize officers or personnel of the city to negotiate and finalize the contract with the selected entity. Does anybody want to make a motion that we do that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Tomasini.
To do what?
To enter into an ordinance providing for a single solid waste carrier. Next thing we would have to do is determine which one it would be.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Tremblay. Mr. Tomasini, did you have a particular company that you wanted to include in your?
Tiger.
Tiger, okay. Is that acceptable with you, Mr. Tremblay?
I'd second that motion based on the alternate one proposal for $15.25 a week.
You want alternate one proposal, is that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
We should.
Okay.
And the reason I'm selecting that is to make the cheapest one available to
Right.
all the residents, along with recycling.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. The motion is that the city of Sandy Oaks adopt an ordinance providing for a single solid waste and recycling carrier, and authorize the officers or personnel to negotiate and finalize a contract with Tiger Sanitation.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Tiger Sanitation? I want to make sure I got it correct here. Tiger Sanitation, under their alternate proposal, number 1, which would include a one-time weekly garbage pickup and a bi-weekly recycling, and it would include our quarterly solid waste and brush pickup.
Did y'all want to include someone who would finalize the contract, or?
That would be our attorney, I would think, would be the one that would do that.
Okay, and
He didn't instruct, that's not his motion.
Oh, Well, no, we're in the discussion mode right now. Yeah,
No, we have a motion and a second.
yeah. And after the motion is second, you have discussion.
Okay.
Do you want to include the attorney to do the drawing up, or do you want to?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you wanted Ms. Rob to do it for us, or... Okay, Mr. Tremblay, he has amended it to have the attorney draw up the...
Right, I'll
ordinance.
second that.
Second that also?
Okay, there we go.
Any further discussion? Those in favor? Well, that's unanimous. Tiger Sanitation, you will be hearing from our attorney to draw up some paperwork. I guess you can start getting your flyers ready. If you will shoot me an email as to where you will be, I have a large map of the city that has all of the outlying, what would you call them, account numbers for the...
I think they're BCAT account numbers.
BCAT account numbers, so that you will know exactly which houses along the outside are included in that.
Okay. We'll create the communication levels with the flyers first for your approval, and then any communication back for our distribution of the flyers would be helpful.
Everything will be done at a future meeting, and I probably think that January 1st would be a good day to try to target for. Try to start it at the first of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
You have everything on board. That'll give you all time to get the flyers out, get the necessary cans that you have to have delivered to the people that want them.
Does that kind of work with your quarter?
Absolutely.
Post-quarter, okay.
So, sir, one question. You'll do a mail out as to who wants the service. Are you going to do that?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to do a mail out?
We will do a mail out.
Mail out.
We also will include a welcome letter. On one of the flyers, it is a 2-page, which describes our level of service as well as what is acceptable for recycling. On the back of that are all of our policies and procedures for creating an account, closing an account, maintaining an account online. It's all in one flyer.
Great. So you'll take care of that.
Yes.
If you need help with addresses, I have mail-out addresses that we could use.
They're going to
send a flyer.
Tiger's going to send out all of the notification that every resident will need. Yeah. What do we do, that's a good question. What do we do with, on the event of the other companies that are picking up now?
We'll send them a copy of the ordinance.
We'll send them a copy?
They have to
Okay.
be a copy of the ordinance. He had mentioned residents contacting him directly, but I don't know if we can just satisfy that with sending a copy of the ordinance.
Okay.
With Tiger Sanitation prohibiting other companies or entities from coming through the streets.
Doing business within the city, right. Okay.
I think she can also put something, give him something for the flyers, saying that because of the new ordinance, they are the official carrier.
Right.
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 Okay. She'll work on it.
Under
Joseph,
contract.
you can, I believe that Cassandra will have a card that she can give you. I hope she does.
Give a card to
Sorry.
I'm sure you got your lawyers on your side and her.
You have a gavel there?
your lawyer
Yeah. Our people will be in contact with your people. Is that the way that works? Okay.
Order.
Okay, order please. All right, that one's done. Okay, discuss and consider an ordinance setting guidelines for trash, high weed, vegetation growth, disabled vehicles, and other unsightly or dangerous properties within the city limits of the city of Sandy Oaks, and setting fines for violation of such ordinance. I'm sure everybody out there has somebody that you, within a stone's throw, that has got a piece of property that you just wish they would clean it up and make it look a little nicer. That is what we have considered on this one right here. One of the ones that to me is the worst are the ones that are the lots, especially on the street side, where nothing is kept maintained, I guess you would call it, from the street up to your property line.
Where there's stripped out trailers on them?
Stripped out trailers, abandoned cars.
We've addressed that in a previous ordinance. on the
We have
abandoned.
Abandoned and burned. We
Abandoned and
addressed that
burned,
already.
yes, but
We're talking something different here.
does it also deal with the high weeds?
No, we
and
did not talk about that, but we did talk about,
The one for number 10?
Yeah, no,
we're on number 9.
number
No,
9.
but you're talking about the ordinance for number 10 that's being,
No, we already did it
Oh.
in a previous meeting.
Okay, hold on, Ernest, what are y'all including in this one that y'all are talking about?
Things like your abandoned automobiles, lots that are just grown up so heavily that you can't see through them.
Yeah, it looks like you're trying to go through the woods.
Yeah, and you can't go through it, exactly. Basically, and you know, every street has it. You drive down, you look back in there, okay, there's a house there, oh my goodness, there's a car sitting in there, somebody lives there. But the weeds are as high as the car is.
Or as high as the house.
And, you know, we need to have a little bit more pride than that in our city.
Clean up the lots and everything.
You know, I understand being poor, but we also need to be clean. And I understand that not everybody has, you know, that $150,000, $200,000 house out there, but
At least, I mean, get with your neighbors, get with somebody, and get help to mow it, cut it down.
So-
anyway, anybody?
Well, the only thing I'm thinking of is that Bear County Code Enforcement, I think they're still out in our neighborhood doing some of this.
No.
No.
I'm talking code enforcement only, because they did round up a bunch of our residents and take them to court.
I think it was right at the time we had incorporated.
It was after them, but I did meet with, I think her name's Ann Revenberg. But I think maybe we should consider adopting whatever guidelines Bear County
Bear
is currently
County does not
using.
have any ordinances.
They have standards that have already, that they
Okay.
operate under, is what I'm saying.
Rather than passing,
That
rather-
covers this.
No.
rather
Yes,
than
on some
passing an
they do.
ordinance for cutting weeds, automobiles, most of this, really, I think we need to sit down and work on our zoning rather than passing an ordinance for everything that
Right.
come up with it as someone thinks is an
I
issue.
just wanna-
A trash can left in the street. I know when we go to everyone in the city having a 95-gallon trash can, I know I got them near me. Their trash can stays in the street. They never put their trash can up by the house. Well, when we get to the point where we hire someone to cut the grass on the right-of-ways, we're going to have to deal with that issue as well. I think rather than doing an ordinance for every little thing that someone notices needs correcting within the city, we need to sit down and do some serious zoning regulations and just pass zoning rather than an ordinance every time we need to do something.
Is there going to be a
What your plan
compliance
is.
officer hired?
I mean, and first of all, everyone has deed restrictions.
Right.
Your deed restrictions should be followed. We shouldn't have to go in and tell you what your responsibilities are to maintain your property. But it seems like that's what we're doing. We're going through and we're having to tell people, look, you can't keep your grass can't be 3 feet high. You can't put a pile of brush out on the street and expect someone's going to pick it up. You can't throw a sofa out there and leave it. When we get to the point where they're going to have bulk collection, we don't want trash. We don't want sofas sitting out on the curb for 2 months because they decided they don't need it in the house anymore. They got a new one. There needs to be limitations on how long you can have your trash on the curb. Excuse me. Surely your grass needs to be cut on the right of way in front of your house, even though it's not your property, it's the right of way. I mean, but I just think that we need to handle this a different way rather than passing an ordinance every time we do this. I think we need to sit down and as a group and work on zoning for the entire city.
And I'll move that we just go ahead and table number 9 until a future meeting.
But I'd second that motion.
Got a motion and a second? No discussion? All those in favor? All right, number 9, gone. No action on that one. Number 10, the substandard buildings, we already did that last time round, correct?
yeah, this was in August, where y'all had talked about the abandoned buildings.
Right.
And so it's just the ordinance that we drafted up. It's a very lengthy ordinance, so it did take some time, but it was discussed in August. So this is
We also
responsible.
passed a health and safety ordinance, which
Right.
deals with, I think the safety issue deals with substandard buildings as well. once we get our marshal in place who can actually start enforcing some of these
Okay.
codes that we've passed.
Well, then I motion we table that one also, since it's already been done. Do I have a second?
Some cities don't have zoning, they just.
I'll second that one as well.
Second, got a motion and a second. Table
Who
number
do you
10.
have second on your motion?
On the first one?
Be me.
Both of them?
It's myself and Tremblay on both of them.
Okay, just want to make sure.
All those in favor? Okay. Number 11, discuss and consider whether the city of Sandy Oaks should opt out of the small municipality program and authorize officers or personnel of the city to take steps necessary to proceed with opting out. The reason why I put this one in is we have come up with a problem with our small municipality designation. We are unable to purchase insurance for owned vehicles. Under that program, we have to move up to the next one. Charlotte, can you explain that one for us, please?
Just because the other insurance was for if we rented a car. It had nothing to do with having the property. Once we have the property and employees, then you're no longer considered a small municipality.
And the next one comes up, and it does come with a higher fee, of course.
Yeah. He was supposed to send me the proposal, and he hasn't sent me anything.
Okay.
So it's just insurance is what we're talking
Yeah, the insurance for the,
Well, who does the small municipality program?
it's through the TML. It's the Intergovernmental Risk Pool.
And who does the other? The other one we didn't have.
The same people.
Same
Yeah,
people.
you're just moving into a different program.
What does it cost? What is that?
He was supposed to send me something. Yeah, he hasn't sent me anything.
And the situation is this, the county, Bear County was generous enough to provide 2 vehicles for our marshal's office. They're ready, they're available, they want us to come get them. But until they're covered by insurance, we're not comfortable retrieving those in case something happens. So they're not very far from here, but we're just trying to get our items all lined out, and we're waiting on the insurance coverage so that we can go get the vehicles.
Well, I'll make a motion, we opt out of the small municipality program and go into a program that will allow us to insure our vehicles.
Well, we don't qualify for it anyway, do we? Is that?
Yes. We basically have to get out of it. Yeah. Yeah.
So what does that do for the other coverage that we have currently with TML for liability or whatever we currently have in place with them now?
We'll have to go to a totally different plan.
But I mean, the new plan would also include what we have now.
Yeah, I'm sure it would.
I would recommend that you take back that motion. I think we need to go about it a little bit different.
Somehow we need to get those vehicles before they're...
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying we need to...
There's too much legality there.
I think what needs to be, you can't just say, yeah, we're going to opt out of that, and we don't know where we're going. So my suggestion is that the motion address some investigative before we make a decision like that.
If the reason for doing this is just the purpose of moving the vehicles, let's look to contract having the vehicles moved by another means. We don't need the vehicles per se. The vehicles aren't needed at this point.
I guess the question is this. There's nothing that says that we can't keep the current coverage we have with TML and add another policy to cover the vehicles.
That's what I assumed we were doing, and that's not available.
It's not available. It's an all or nothing thing with TML?
We no longer qualify for a small municipality.
Why?
Because of the vehicles and the employees that we're going to get. Now that we have money, I guess. And some of it has to do with money, too. How much money does it? No.
How did they allow us to qualify before?
Because we didn't have anything. When we very first started.
The only people being insured were the 5 of us up here.
Okay.
But we're not canceling that?
No, nothing's been canceled.
What do you think, Cassandra? Just pull this one?
No. I'm waiting on you to back up.
No, I'm not going to back off of it. If you want
No. I'm just saying, we have a motion on the floor.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Well, if we get the other insurance, does that automatically cancel the one we have? Is that what TML's going to do?
I'm sure they would take what we have now and put it into the new one. I mean, you talking money-wise or coverage?
I'm waiting.
Oh, I'm sure the coverage is increased.
Well, if we don't get a second, it's a dead issue.
Well, then I'll make a motion.
City money.
I'll make a substitute motion. How's that?
Go for it.
I would like to make a motion that we instruct the city clerk to investigate additional options or other options for insurance coverage, and we'll take up the decision at a future meeting.
Well, yeah, she said she's still waiting on the information. She doesn't.
I know, but we have an
second.
item on the agenda requesting to cancel it. I don't want to cancel it.
Well, no, we're just going to opt out of one designation and into another. You will still have insurance. That's the way TML works.
Do we have to opt out today? I mean, that's kind of the issue is they liked our money, now they don't want us.
No, they want us. They want more money from us. They want us. And basically what it is, it's going to cost you more.
Okay. We haven't taken possession of the vehicles because we haven't done title transfer. So we still qualify for this small municipality.
Until we put those add those cars, we're still the same. Once we add the cars, I'm assuming that's what's causing it to go into different.
Okay.
Category.
I just don't want to have a gap in coverage of any kind.
Right.
No.
Okay.
If we pick up the vehicles, where are they going?
Well, the marshal and I talked about that. I think one's going in his driveway, one's going in my driveway until we can figure out where to put them, because we're in line sight of each other. So we're open to other suggestions. We just don't have any.
I just don't see them vandalized. They won't pick them up where they
Yeah.
Is it possible that y'all could just consider to leave it the way it is for now, leave those cars?
Well, that's what
Well, the problem is
Still
that
future investigation?
they're sitting in an impound yard, and they want us to move them off.
Well, we can go tow them and
Let's
bring
move
them
this next month.
and park them again.
All right, well, Ms. Ball,
Why don't we?
Ms.
Okay.
Ball has an alternate motion on the floor.
Well
Do we have
then, wait a
second?
minute. I want to rescind my motion. I'd like to replace that motion. Why don't we postpone this to the next meeting?
Because Charlotte said she hasn't gotten the information yet, and when she gets the information.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
We'll just postpone this till the next
I'll
meeting.
second your postponement. Do we have any more discussion?
Were you able to keep up with that?
We have a motion and a second to postpone item number 11 for a future meeting.
Put it on the next.
Yes.
It'll be for the November meeting,
Yes.
and that was by Ball. Okay. All right, all those in favor? All right, unanimous. Okay, discussing item number 12, discuss and consider bonding and insurance requirement for any city of Sandy Oaks, a city official handling the city Mondays. What this is, and to give you a little background on it, anybody that handles the books, and I'm not saying that Ms. Rob's going to run off with all your money. I'll use a personal experience and let you know what it is. Most of you know I was a retired police officer. And the San Antonio Police Officers Association takes in dues. They have a treasurer. About 5 years ago, maybe 6, they had a treasurer that decided that he was going to skim some of this money from the association. And in the year and a half that he was doing his skimming before he got caught with audits, he ended up with $130,000, $140,000 of their money. They had the foresight to have bonding and insurance in on their employees that were handling it. They did not lose a dime. He did go to jail. When he come out of jail, he's paying back the insurance company now. That's what this is for. It protects the city's money in the event something happens. And we're not always going to have the same group of people up here. It only takes one unscrupulous one to come up and hurt you later on.
Isn't that currently a requirement in the existing local government code?
I think it is.
I think it is, that it's required.
Is that?
I don't know. How do you go about doing that?
I have no idea what companies do that bonding and that insurancing, but I know it's available.
I don't know for cities if it's also something through TML that the
check
risk
TML.
pool
Right.
that they can do. I would imagine they would have something, or if not, be able to provide the city, who can do it first.
And my whole intent right here is not right now is to come in and say, yeah, we're going to go do it right now. Look into it, find out what we need to do, and get something in place.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's local government code already addresses that.
Because it is something that could be needed. Okay.
Costs money, it's gonna have to be budgeted.
Yeah.
I don't know how much
How
that
much it
is.
is.
Well, actually, it's pretty minimal from what I understand.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Basically, we're not going to take any action on that. We just want, we're not, the council's not going to take any action. We're going to have the city clerk and, if need be, the attorney look in to see who can.
So we need to instruct the city clerk to get some
City
more
clerk
information
to,
on the bonding requirement through TML. What's
see
available,
if
the
TML
cost.
has the
Yeah, I
bonding.
will. And then if they can help me, I'll see if they know somebody.
Okay.
And just keep in mind, if you do the acceptable accounting principles, things like that won't even happen internally.
Through experience, I have seen people that do this kind of stuff become very creative in the ways they hide their transactions. And that's why some of them get going so many years before they get picked up. You've heard of these companies where somebody, millions of dollars over so many years, they've skimmed money.
Because they weren't following the acceptable accounting principles.
Somebody wasn't
More than
following.
one person has to be.
Right.
okay.
Okay, we'll move on. All right, number 13, report on animal control options available to the city of Sandy Oaks, and discuss, consider control regulations if necessary. Mr. Tomasini, it's yours.
I talked to the people in Elmendorf, the city manager, the animal control officer, and actually the chief of police was there too. And they gave me a lot of helpful information, not all of it encouraging, but because they were telling me that it's pretty expensive to capture, keep them for a while, and everything else that they got to do. And they don't actually do any kenneling of the animals that they pick up. They take theirs to another city, and every time they take a dog or some animal, or a dog or a cat, they have to pay $98. And that other city keeps them for 3 days, and nobody claims them. You know, they do what they do. Either somebody comes and picks them up, or they euthanize the dogs or cats or whatever. And the city, I thought the county had their own animal control, but they don't. They were contracting with the city, and they have to pay over $200 an animal for theirs. So theirs is even more expensive. Now, the city of Elmendorf, the city manager did say that, you know, cities around Bexar County are starting to partner with, you know, different cities to take care of this. And of course, he couldn't tell me they would do that because he's the city manager. It has to be a decision by the city council in Elmendorf. So, you know, so don't call Elmendorf and tell them to come get your dog because there's a cat in there. But hopefully we can do something with that, with maybe not Elmendorf, but maybe some other cities. And he suggested that if we're going to allow people to keep, I know we have some large lots, if we're going to allow people to keep horses or other large animals, he recommended that we have some place to keep them if they get loose. Because he said it will happen. He said you're going to allow some people to keep horses, some people to keep cows, llamas, whatever they're going to have. It's best to have a pen to put them in when they're caught roaming around. He said otherwise you don't have a place to put them. So he said you need some acreage to put them and a fence. So, but hopefully, you know, we do have some money in the budget for animal control, so hopefully we'll be able to do something. But it's still, but it's very expensive. He was telling me he said it's never a problem you're going to solve. He said it'll always be there.
Encouraging. Okay, discouraging. All right, thank you, Councilman Tomasini. Okay, we're almost to the end of it here. Number 14 on the list, discuss and consider Waterwood Property Owners Association properties and assets offered by the city of Sandy Oaks. I'll put a special note on this. This item may be pulled to be addressed in a future meeting in events that anticipated paperwork from the WPPOA did not arrive before the meeting. I did get some paperwork this morning from Mr. Clement. I forwarded it to Cassandra. Cassandra, I'm gonna put this one in your court. Does that paperwork come close to satisfying, or?
I think there's just one more thing based on the TCEQ's report that they're waiting for, and it's due October 19th. And it's just a documentation showing the environmental impact on the park and the surrounding land. And also kind of a manifest of what happened to the drums is what my understanding of what the TCEQ is still waiting for.
Yeah.
So the WPPOA has until the 19th of this month to do that. And I think once they do that, the TCEQ will either make their final decision or close the case, whatever the TCEQ may do, and then we can...
My concern was reading through most of that they had in there. They listed the WPPOA as the responsible party, even though they inherited it and they had nothing to do with removing what was there. Is there really going to be a chance that they're going to be able to comply with this?
That may be something to ask Mr. Clement if they can. It's just if the city takes any type of action on the land, it may turn into the city becoming the responsible party and fulfilling the TCEQ's requirements.
Requirements, right.
I emailed Mr. Juarez and asked him if it would become our responsibility, and he hasn't emailed me back. So
okay.
It could be, well, my guess is that if the WPPOA took the responsibility when the property was given to them, then it probably would go to us if the property's given to us. I don't know.
Mr. Clement, do you have any earthly idea what it costs to do that study?
Well, one of the problems we've run into was that Waterwood Development Company took the drums.
Right.
They disposed of them, not knowing where they went, or they found a guy on Craigslist who wanted some old used oil. He came and got the drums, took them. The only redeeming thing that we had going for the thing was that when the drums were placed in the maintenance yard and covered with a tarpaulin, they were placed in a berm area. And Mr. Juarez said in his investigation, there was no leakage or spillage from those drums in the berm area. The only reason, the investigation is closed. The only reason there hasn't been a clean bill of health given is because Mr. Juarez did not see the open hole. Okay? Now, he has relayed to me that from what he's seen, visibly seen, there is nothing wrong in that maintenance yard. But because he didn't see the open hole, he can't say for sure. And he said, with if we can't find from Waterwood Development Company where they disposed of those drums, the only redeeming thing we have to do is to get a company to come in and take core samples. I have no idea what that's going to cost. That's one of the things I've got to start doing this coming week. If we have to do it, and what he relayed to me was that there's nothing there, but you can't tell if you plan on putting a house there, and then you would have to relay that information to the proposed owner.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Because at least from where I sit on the council, I've not been privy to whatever documents you shared with the city attorney. And my position on this has always been this should be treated just like any other real estate transaction that you personally would enter into. And without having those type of documents available for review, it's all kind of shady, okay? But what I'm curious about is, in whatever documentation Waterwood Development provided to Waterwood Park Property Owners Association, was there anything in there that discussed potential liabilities or environmental assessments or any history or any, okay, so it was just, here, take it if you want it?
Yes.
Okay.
This was part of that 24-page report you got on email.
The September 18th letter from the TCEQ? The September 18th letter from the TCEQ?
Yeah.
Yes, that.
Okay. I believe I emailed you one this morning.
Yes.
Based on the fact that, that they have a hearing scheduled for the 19th of October, which I'm sure they'll make some determination, I make a motion that we, again, postpone this until the November meeting, and at that time, if we have the required documents, we can take action on the transfer of the assets.
Okay,
That's the motion on the floor.
I've got 10 or 12 doctor's appointments between now and the end of the year.
Well, I mean, are you the only individual on the board?
What I'm going to be saying is this. We don't have the money to do it. And I know that the council can't come jump right in and say, we're going to give you the money. You can't do that. But I'm going to have to issue another assessment fee, and I'm also getting out. I'm tired.
Okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor.
I have to get out.
Postpone this.
We're going to have to have elections for property owners, and what happens from there belongs to the community.
Okay.
Motion is seconded by Thomas.
Wait, who made who motioned to postpone?
Well, that was
Motion is postponed to the this
to the
item,
November?
to the November meeting, and at that time, hopefully, we'll have the required documents.
And who's second?
That was Thomasini.
Okay.
Yeah. It's part of the discussion on that. I think it would be prudent for the city to sometime in the future to maybe try to work with the Waterwood Property Owners Association and maybe see
Mr. Clement will come forth and get a cost to do the study, then maybe something could be done there, but
maybe it could be a shared cost, especially, or because the city's going to get it.
I can't say that, but
yeah, but I mean that's something that the city might consider in the future.
There may be some property owners who would donate the money to get it done. We need to know what is the cost to do. All they're going to do is go in there and get a soil sample and test it.
Well,
I mean, that's what we need. We really don't care where the barrels went. The TCEQ wants to know where the barrels were, how were they disposed of. We could care less about that. Now, what we care about is the soil in the park. That's what we care about.
That's what the core samples are for.
Exactly. If you find a company that will give you a cost on doing a sample, going over there and digging up some dirt and doing a lab test on the dirt that's there to find out what type of contaminants are there, that would suffice for this council. It would suffice for me. I'm not sure about the other members of the council, but that's what we need from you, Mr. Clement, is that's what we need. Find a company,
see if you can find
see what the cost is. Surely it's not $20,000. I doubt that it's $1,000 to do the test. Really, I don't think it's that much money. But that's what needs to be done in order for us to take action on. I want to take the park. I do. I just can't ask the citizens of Sandy Oaks to take the responsibility.
I'm sympathetic with your plea, and believe me, if there's going to be something that's going to put the city in jeopardy, I have to back off.
And I would hope that you wouldn't put an assessment fee on the citizens and the property owners of Waterwood based on the fact that we're not taking the assets.
Right.
We've asked you to turn off the electrical wherever you could, possibly. I know there's a light sitting up there at the Waterwood entrance that's on 24 hours a day that's costing something. There are some actions you can take to save some money.
That's $10 a month.
It should be shut off, but yeah. Okay.
If you don't have $10.
I mean, hopefully something can be done. I mean, the first thing you do is just get a cost.
Right.
As far as where the barrels went, I think if you told the TCEQ who took the barrels, their name, then the TCEQ can go on and ask Gail what he did with the barrels, and that would free your liability towards it.
That's the key to what's happening right now. I informed Mr. Juarez that the barrels were removed by Mr. Jason Gale. What he did with them, And I told him what Jason Gale gave to me. He contacted Mr. Gale. Mr. Gale told him the same thing. He didn't know where the barrels were.
So I
He had no idea where they are.
I have a question for the attorney along these lines because, and I know I provided you some information on a case that I opened with Bexar County prior to us being a city. And I'm wondering, I mean, I think it's been fairly well established and understood that it wasn't the WPPOA who has created this potential hazard. We don't know for a fact if it is or not. It was the actions of the previous owner. Without seeing documents, I don't know what remediation may or may not be available as a result of whatever contract was or was not executed. But the question is there any fallback to Waterwood Development to help pay for any of this remediation or soil samples or whatever is required to get this cleared?
I think if, depending on the deed, if WPPOA took everything as is and is responsible for all the liabilities, then maybe not, but we could, they may be a joint party, and that would be the option to go if we have to go about and...
But that would involve, we're talking a lawsuit
Yeah, like
then.
the type
Exactly.
of lawsuit.
I think they inherited the problem.
They
That's pretty much what happened. They
Talking with them
inherited
and
it.
trying to get some sort of resolution or them to offer something just without that is probably unlikely.
Right.
I think
Because
Mr. Tremblay's get us else in.
All right, well, we have a motion and a second.
That was the motion,
Yeah,
that we
that
move
motion
this
and
to
a
the
second.
November meeting.
Okay.
Do we have any further discussion by the board? All those in favor? Postponing. till
Postpone,
November,
yes.
Yeah, okay, unanimous.
Okay.
Last item on the agenda tonight, discuss and consider soliciting bids for a contractor to clean and maintain the public right-of-ways. What I'm talking about here is the entranceways, the drainage ditch areas, any of those areas that are actually considered public.
Right-of-ways.
Well, not so much the right-of-ways along the sides of the streets. I'm talking about when you come over a bridge, like on Waterwood Pass, there's a place in there that's a drainage ditch. Nobody cleans that, it's grown up. The same thing with our entrance up on Waterwood Pass. If you go down Priest Road, there's a couple of places there where there's water drainage up underneath. Nobody is taking care of those.
Actually, the Bexar County used to mow all up and down Peach.
I have a
They
question
don't do
for
it
the
anymore.
attorney. I think this falls back to trying to identify what properties within the subdivision are part of Waterwood property owners or part of the city.
I think we discussed that, and if we can move on with transferring the WPPOA assets, we will
becomes-
take everything. We will do it all, rather than
Right.
just nitpick and say we're gonna do this and not do that. I
Right.
mean, everybody would be happy if everybody's street had the grass mowed on the easements, on the
Right.
right-of-ways. So I would, I'd make a motion, we move this to the November
Postpone till next.
meeting as well, and hopefully we can get the PPO assets
You're going to have a busy meeting.
handled, and I think until we have enough money in our in the accounts come collection with taxes and probably another quarter of the sales tax, that we can actually afford to get this all done. And being done during the winter months, it'll last us till spring, I believe.
We got a motion to postpone till the November meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ball. Any further discussion?
Well, is it postponing it just
To November.
To the
And
next
we'll just,
meeting.
and hopefully, like I say, hopefully we have the WPPOA issue resolved, or we're at least at a point where we know what it's going to cost to get that study done. And again, the intent is to include the whole city, not just the
Piecemeal.
ones that
Right.
really belong to the city and not go into the subdivision.
Any further discussion? Those in favor of postponing? Got three, 4, and 1 against. So I'll get that. I would like to see our neighborhood cleaned up there.
I would
Definitely.
too.
I'd like to get some volunteers together to clean the
You
water.
left an item off the agenda.
I did, did I?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Got it. Aye.
You got to do 3.
Okay.
As soon as I get well.